What is up, you guys? Fit Vector here, and today I'm actually gonna be coming back with the video that I did promise, the video that I would tell you guys I would upload, talking about what did happen, why I stopped uploading for that 1 or 2 weeks. But I did promise myself I would not cry in this video just for the sake of the video, and here's the story. It all started off. It was like 12:30 midnight, and I remember Luminous and I just being in a party. We were just playing Modern Warfare Remastered, just a normal night that we were gonna do an all-nighter. And I remember, I remember we were just talking on Modern Warfare Remastered, and this actually happened to my grandfather from my mother's side. And I remember where my grandfather lives, where my grandpa lives. There were some kids that I would hang out with and talk to, and we weren't really the best of friends. We weren't friends. We were like sometimes get into arguments, get mad at each other, ditch each other and stuff like that. And I remember, all right, so he lives in like, I remember he lives in like an apartment complex. Like it's kind of an apartment. It has like, it doesn't really look like an apartment you would imagine, but it's still an apartment because it has 8 houses, 8 little rooms. And well, they're not rooms, they're like actually houses. So they're like 2 bedroom houses. And back to the story. I remember one of these kids, it was a girl. She texted me. She was like, um, she said that I'm sorry for your loss, and I said why or how. I forgot what I said. I said what, and she was like, your grandpa and aunt just got shot, and I was like, stop playing. I don't play like that. You know I don't play like that. And she was like, I'm not playing. And the first thing I did was I called my grandpa, and I remember hearing the 8 rings and then just saying, please leave your message. And that's when I started panicking. That's when I called my aunt. No answer either. That's when I called my grandma who lives with them, and she answered crying. And that's when I started crying too because I knew it was real. And I remember her telling me exactly, your grandpa and aunt got shot. And I said, are they okay? I asked if they okay. Are they okay? That's the first thing I asked because I wanted to know if they were still alive or not. And she said, I don't know. And that's when the girl texted me, and no, I texted the girl and I said, I'm sorry for not believing you. And I just started crying. And my grandpa, he was like one of the closest people to me. I looked up to him as a father. And the reason why is because when I remember my real father was an alcoholic. So he was an alcoholic. So he left me and my mom when I was 6 months old. And he was really never there for me. And I remember my mother telling me that he won a 3,000, no, a 10,000, no, a 10 or $30,000 lawsuit. And she said that none of it was ever given to us or me for like at least Pampers or something. So the guy was never there. And he passed away when I was 12, so I never really had a father. Except when it came to my grandfather, he was always there. He was the one to tell me that when he looked at my grades and he saw 2 Fs that I had this year in freshman year, I remember he was going to tell me, come on, buddy, give it a try. He would not get mad at me. He would tell me to give it a try. And he would actually tell me, like, come on, do it for your future and stuff like that. Or if I order something online, he would be the one to give it to me. He would be the one to look out for it, to look out for all of us, for us grandkids. It was like 8 of us. He would always look out for us. We always came first. And it just really sucked how he was taken away from me and all of us because he was really nice. I remember Luminous, I had seen him. Even one of my friends in this video, in the GTA video, he seen him. He would always be like, let them in, give them a water. Do they want anything to eat? I remember also H Merc, he would see him sometimes too. And it just sucks how he was taken because he was still 56. He still had time. And I remember what I heard was that he it was just like another normal night. He was picking up my aunt from work. My aunt, she would get out at work. She would have different times that she would get out of work. It was 12 afternoon, 7 in the morning, 12 midnight, 8 p.m. No matter what, he would always be there because he was the closest with her. They lived together. They paid for each other's rent and stuff like that. So I remember what was I told? I remember I was told that he was coming back like another normal night. He was just coming back from picking her up, and my grandfather's apartment, like in the front, he has his own driveway, so like he could just park his car and just go inside because he lived in the first, like right in the front, so like he had his own driveway. And I remember, um, and I and I and he was parking in the driveway, and I'm sorry it's hard to speak because at this point it still doesn't feel real because he was my grandfather, and he was always there. He would be sleeping right now, just. But anyway, I'm pretty sure he was pulling up on the driveway, and then they said that someone was hiding behind a car because there was another driver next to his, and there were cars there too. And not to be racial or anything, but it was an African American guy, and he was wearing all black too, I believe. And he was hiding behind a car, and he did shoot 3 bullets into my grandfather's windshield, two which scraped my aunt in the forehead, and luckily, no, one was scraped her in the forehead and luckily left her alive just with stitches. And my grandfather, which we still don't know where he was shot yet, but he died right on scene. When the ambulance came, they told us that he died right on scene. And I remember my aunt telling us that right when it happened, she thought there were people throwing rocks at the windshield, and she was telling my grandpa to like just hurry up because my grandpa was one of those people to react fast, and if it was someone endangering the family, then he would react hella fast. And I remember telling us that she told my grandfather that hurry up, come on, start the car, go in reverse, and nothing. And she remembers that when the first shot was shot, nothing happened. The second, nothing. The third one, that's when she heard his final breath, like when he's snoring about to sleep or something. She heard his last breath, and I remember she told us that she got his thigh and pushed it down so it could go reverse, and the car still wasn't working. And also, the last piece of evidence that they still haven't caught the guy, and it's been like 2 weeks or so. They said that my grandfather was fighting with someone earlier that day, and it just sucks how he was taken. Like, the last thing I told him, the last time that I saw my grandfather was he was dropping me off because I asked my aunt for an Uber, and he offered a ride back, and this was 2 days before it happened, and he offered a ride back home, and I said okay, thank you, because I really wanted to get home, literally to get on and play video games. And the whole ride I was quiet. I didn't really talk to my grandpa. I was just telling him, like, he would ask me questions like, oh, how was school and stuff like that, did you have a good workout and stuff like that at the gym. And when he dropped me off, I didn't even say, well, I said goodbye. I said thank you, grandpa, and I left. And I was in so much of a hurry to say goodbye or I love you or anything that that I didn't really get to say anything. My final words were just trash. But I don't really want to talk a lot about it, so I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you guys for watching and supporting my video. Hope you guys understand.